What is up, my fellow sports fans? We got the W for win. Shouldn't be for victory, actually. I like that better. But the G-Men are going to pull out that win today. Let's go. But really, I'm going to be non-biased and talk about all things sports. Before we get into the playoffs, let's actually get into what's really fun is a QB tier. So it's not only in that last 2 minutes who you're scared of, but just in general, in a neutral playing field, who is the scariest QBs? So it's fun because it's the playoffs. It's like, oh, Brady had a bad season. But now if you're facing Tom Brady, like he's Tom Brady, you're scared. So the MVP race is fun and all that. But I have always kind of said the MVP is a regular season reward. It doesn't always apply to the playoffs. Like in the NBA, you look at Steve Nash, won back-to-back MVPs, but can't really play defense. Like you're not scared of him come playoff time. So mine can be pretty out there as I like to be. So my tiers are a little different than most. So tier one, by themselves, two guys, you know who it is, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. A lot of people have Mahomes first. Dude is a magician. I gotta have Allen first. There's a lot of pressure. Crazy things can happen. If an edge rusher comes from out of nowhere and smacks you, Allen might even break a tackle without even realizing it. He's got that physical factor. His arm talent's actually better than Mahomes, and he's capable of plenty of magic as well. And you like to say neutral playing field, but he's got better weapons. So Allen is the scariest QB out there. It's 1A and 1B. And then there's a huge jump to the next tier. And then the next tier, I've got Hurts and Burrow. In no particular order of Hurts and Burrow. I know that's wishy-washy of me to do that. It's also not fair because Hurts is coming off of injury. And we don't really know what playoff Hurts is like. That being said, he's done it for the whole year. The weapons do matter. I know we're talking about what the QB is capable of, but it's easier with more weapons. He's got AJ Brown on one side, Devontae Smith on the other side. Great running game, top two offensive line in football. Jalen Hurts is not someone you want to be going against. Dude ran at will earlier. Unfortunately, an injury does really mess with a running quarterback. So if I had to take one, I'd probably actually take Joe Burrow, which is funny because, my tier I'm looking at right there had Hurts and Burrow, but talking it out, I do think Joe Burrow would be the 1A, Hurts would be the 1B. And then there was an astronomical jump from the first tier to the second tier. There is still a bit of a jump to the next tier, but it's not astronomical. And this tier was really tough for me. I've actually got 6 QBs in there. I really thought about breaking it up into just Herbert, Dak, and Daniel Jones. But it was really tough to not put Tom Brady in there because as I was prepping for this, it's like, yeah, imagine you're going against this guy in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. I'm like, oh man, Captain Kirk and Tom Brady have done some magic and do make all the throws. So let me break it down for you. QBR this year, Daniel Jones actually had a better QBR than Justin Herbert, while Mike Williams and Keenan Allen missed time. Josh Palmer is still better than all the nobodies the Giants had out there. Darius Slayton is solid and athletic, but drops lots of passes and isn't a great route runner. He's just a big physical specimen. He's just fast and tall. Richie James is a career backup who overperformed. He's not as good as Josh Palmer at all. Wan'Dale was really good for 2 games, but then got hurt. Sterling Shepard was good for a little bit, got hurt. It's also tough when you're not getting to build rapport. You get to build rapport with Josh Palmer all year. Already had rapport with Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. Gerald Everett did amazing this year. Eckler is a terrific receiver. So it's he had a better setup and a better offensive line than the Giants and had a worse QBR. Not QB rating, but actual QBR. And I didn't have time because the whole pregnancy and life thing. That's why I'm posting at 12 o'clock, an hour before the job. Oh, by the way, I know nothing about what happened. The only thing I know, I was supposed to lead with that. The only thing I know is I went on LinkedIn to post yesterday. It's a really good one. You're welcome to share it with you guys as well. Is easy choices, hard life. Hard choices, easy life. It applies to pretty much everything. There's that last little call. You don't want to make it work. You don't want to go to the gym. You make that hard choice and you do it, your life gets better in the long run. You take the easy choice, you have the fast food, you have a harder life. So it really is like a huge life hack, and it's so simple. Hard choice, easy life, easy choice, hard life. It's amazing. Anyway, so Another fun thing is called it's called like not talent stacking, but habit stacking. It's like every time you brush your teeth, maybe pray for what you want, or every time you brush your teeth, do 5 push-ups. I have a negative habit stack, and a lot of times when I check my LinkedIn, I'll check my Twitter. So I posted on my LinkedIn, hopped to my Twitter, I was like, no, and it said, Niners gonna lose? Question mark, question mark. And it like, I don't know what time it was. So I don't know anything. It doesn't change my prediction of what's going to happen there. So I'll get into that. But that's all I know. One tweet that said Niners going to lose. And I still, even though seeing that, it doesn't change my prediction. I do not think they're going to lose. I did not think they were going to cover the minus 9.5, and I do not think they're going to lose. I should be closer to you guys. I should be showing off the baby maker. So the Herbert Dak DJ one is tough. Dak is on the Cowboys, which isn't supposed to matter, but it does. They're known for choking. They're the Dallas Cowgirls. We all know that's not who you're scared of. The Chargers have that same thing as well, whereas the Giants have the other thing. The Giants get after it. As of like week 17, that's what I was saying. I didn't have time to really do the deep dive. I did the deep dive in a couple people. I went into Burrow's. Oh man, Burrow's stats over the last 2 years are tremendous. As I said before, best QBR over the past 2 years is Josh Allen, Mahomes, Burrow, and Tua. But Tua didn't really play that much last year, have as many pass attempts. He passed a lot more this year, and his QBR is just upped by Tyreek and Waddle running after the catch. Let's be honest. So he's not in the same tier as those guys. Stats-wise, Burrow has actually shown himself to probably be QB number 3. So I was thinking about my guy, Daniel Jones. He's a great runner, great runner. I've actually started saying he's like a Josh Allen 0.8. He's Josh Allen without the sexiness. When he had that run where he fell down, that was the fastest run of the 2021 season on any QB like ever recorded in the past 2 years, I think. And that's so he is capable at full sprint running faster than Lamar Jackson, and he's 6'5", 237. Or like 6'5", 230. He's listed, 237, I think is what he's listed at, which is like listed as like 4 pounds less than Josh Allen. So of course, Josh Allen's like a Roethlisberger, lying about his weight. Allen's more like 250. But DJ's a big guy who can run. He can make the throws. He can make the touch throws. So like hands down, I would take DJ over Lamar. Lamar has looked awful in the playoffs time. Is coming off injury. Again, I've tapped in the spirit. I don't hate the Red Sox anymore. It's not their fault they're on the Red Sox. It's not Jalen Hurts' fault he's on the Eagles. I've actually liked Hurts since day one. Even before I tapped into the spirit, I was already becoming more of an adult. But as a Vic fan, I was always like, nah, Vic is the GOAT runner. Lamar can suck it. I've watched Lamar do some amazing things. I have mad respect for Lamar and Fields' ability to run the ball. They are incredible runners. That's not how you win in the playoffs. You go up against DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons, Leighton Vander Esch. That's not even like the top defense in the NFL, but that's just like Lamar's not just going to run circles around those guys. Like Micah Parsons is going to be like, bro, I'm Micah Parsons. Watch out. So still proud. First episode said the Giants should have taken Micah Parsons in the first round. I was so right about that. But yeah, Lamar can't run circles around people in the playoffs. It's better defenses. Same thing I've said about Tyreek and Waddle. That yes, they're so fast, and you put them out against regular teams, and they're just going to run circles around people. But then you get them into the playoffs, and they're going against good teams. Like look up, they're going against the Bills right now, and they're going against, if he was healthy, Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, but still one really good safety, and Tre'Davious White, top 5 corner in the league. So then you put Trey White on one of them, whichever two he feels more confident against, and you give safety help on the other one, or double the other one, or something. But yeah, teams have really good corners. Even the Giants, who are like kind of a leaky defense, have Adoree Jackson. So in the Giants, if they were going against the Dolphins in the Super Bowl, let's go. If that's going to happen, then they would clearly put Adoree on They would put Adoree on Waddle because they're both super fast. Waddle's not like Tyreek. He's not like unbelievably strong and next level fast. He's next level, but he's not like next level fast. He's just super duper fast. Well, guess what? Adoree Jackson's also super duper fast. He like literally ran track at USC. So Adoree Jackson is a tier 1 athlete. He hasn't always showed it on the field, but if you're just putting athlete versus athlete, Adoree can hang versus Jalen Waddle. And then you put X-Man McKinney, you have him help whatever Bammer. It's funny, the Giants corners have actually ranked really well. I still hate on them, but they've ranked really well according to PFF. You give Tyreek help, and then all of a sudden, that's not that terrifying duo. And that's why if I'm building a team, I want one big and one fast. You can have the big guy be fast. You can have DK, but like look at DK and Lockett. It's way harder to match DK and Lockett. You can't just put any corner on DK Metcalf. Like, oh, Dory Jackson, athletic, but he would get mossed by DK. So that's why, like Josh Allen, that's another reason he's that top dog for me. You got Diggs and Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis is a big dude. Diggs isn't small. So that for me is so. Anyways, getting a little ranty today. Clearly didn't meditate for this episode. So the order I have for those three, even though what I was trying to say was Daniel Jones is the lowest interception ratio, 1.1% as of week 17, and didn't play in week 18. So unless some crazy person threw like 40 passes without a pick, Daniel Jones had the lowest interception percentage in the league. No weapons, really high QB rating, higher QBR than Herbert, and can run better than both those dudes. I know Herbert can run, Ken do not run as often. It's like it does matter. Like Russell Wilson was a terrific runner, but always would choose to be a QB first. And even though that's what you want, and you can maybe throw the ball farther, when Aaron Rodgers was younger, he would see a play was dead and he would take off with his feet. At one point, Andrew Luck was the highest percent of converting on third down. If he saw of any runner in the league, like including the 3rd and 1 short grinder people, anyone in the league most likely to run on third. If they run on third down, most likely to first down was Andrew Luck because he was a smart dude, went to Stanford, 3rd and 6. Everyone goes 10 yards or deeper. He sees there's no one there. He takes off and hits the line. So I would like to see a little more of that from Justin Herbert. People go to the combine. They say they're 6'5". They're usually 6'4.5". He said he was 6'6". He was 6'6 and an eighth. So he's over 6'6". He had the long flowy hair. He can run. He can do it all. He's got the laser arm. He just doesn't run quite as much as he should, in my opinion. That being said, Daniel Jones, this is his first year of doing it. Justin Herbert's done it since day one. So this is a 1A, 1B, 1C thing. I'd go Herbert, Dak, and then Daniel Jones. And I know it's you think I'm crazy for putting Brady, Kirk, and Lamar, those dudes. I mean, Kirk, of course, is lucky to be even in this list. But Brady just hasn't shown it as much this year. Maybe I'm being a Giants homer putting Daniel Jones over Brady last 2 minutes. But I do think Brady has been very susceptible to pass rush over his career. That's how my Giants beat him in the Super Bowl. Daniel Jones has been susceptible as well, but that's because the Giants line is worse than the Patriots lines were of those years. It's not like Jones will like drop back and literally get hit at. It's not what Brady's ever dealt with. So on the Bucks, they have a really good offensive line. So we're talking, it's like they don't have neutral scenarios, but you kind of got to be like, oh, if things go decently, like the line doesn't get destroyed, but there is some pressure, Jones can make magic happen with his feet. And I think that's vital in the NFL nowadays, especially in the last 2 minutes. You need a few more yards to get that field goal. He can get you 15 yards with his legs anytime. So then, yeah, I would go Brady. It's Tom Brady. We're all quaking in our boots if Tom Brady's going against our team. So you got to give him the respect. So that's why I wanted to do a tier. My initial thought was the tier was Herbert, Dak, and DJ, and then Brady and Kirk, and then Lamar. And I was like, no, put them all together. You'd be quaking in your boots for Lamar. You'd be scared of Captain Kirk. They'd be showing the highlights of all the stuff he's done recently. You'd be scared of Brady. So I put them all in one big tier. A little, like maybe tiny bit of a bigger drop off between Herbert, Dak, and DJ. But again, it's Tom Brady. So it's one big tier. And then Tua gets a tier all by himself. As you know, he has the fourth best QBR in the past 2 years. But again, that's also due to Waddle and Tyreek. He's also been hurt. He's literally not even playing right now. And when he was last playing, he threw 3 horrible picks on 3 consecutive drives to potentially make them miss the playoffs. So you just can't count on him. And then T-Law, same thing as Daniel Jones and Herbert. Dude can run. Dude can make all the throws. He had 71.9% second half of the year, highest completion percentage in the league. But I watched every play of that Titans-Jaguars game, and he was not the guy in that game. And the Titans didn't even make the playoffs, so that's not even a playoff team. And they won off my other guy, Josh Allen, getting a touchdown. So the defender on the Jags so they didn't get in because of T-Law. T-Law couldn't even throw the ball. He was great with Christian Kirk, but pretty much nothing besides that. And then the homie Tyler Huntley in a tier all by himself at the bottom. So now that we've established what these QBs are capable of, let me get into the actual games. We'll start with the Niners because I said I do know the Niners don't come out hot, whatever that may mean. Could be they already lost. But they did already because it's Sunday. But from the tweet I saw, they could have already lost. They could have been like, oh, Niners are going to lose? But I don't know. I'm telling myself it's just like 10-0. So when I watch those highlights later today, I'll still be enjoying them. So it's minus 9.5, 42.5 for the over-under. This is exactly how I would have rocked it before. If you're betting outright, Niners clearly going to win. I would not take them to cover the spread. I typically don't. If it's 10, I like to avoid it because they're clearly capable of winning by 10 or more. They have a vicious defense. They've looked great with Purdy, but again, he has zero playoff experience. So I'm not going to predict him to beat Geno Smith, who's been through it for years and has two good weapons. That running game has struggled as of lately, but Kenneth Walker definitely has the juice. So yeah, I would say I would take the under because you've got a struggling Seahawks run offense. Purdy's never played in the playoffs. It's been horrible weather here in the Bay Area. I would definitely take the under for sure. I would take the Niners to win outright, and I would take the Seahawks to cover the spread, but again, would not bet on that. Next one, we got Chargers Jaguars. This is the easiest one for me. I cannot believe the Chargers are minus 2.5. That's absolutely insulting to them. As I said, the Jaguars barely beat the Titans. The Chargers are getting back to full strength. Williams and Keenan have been playing. I love saying them and the Cowboys. All those paper teams. Derwin is hands down the best safety in football. They've got Khalil freaking Mack and Joey Bosa. That's a nightmare. Derwin not only is the best safety, he's the number 1 ranked slot corner. So he can guard your tight end. He can guard your pesky little Percy Harvin type slot receiver. He can come in on run support and thwomp you. Like the Chargers are a team not to sleep on. They've got weapons on offense. They got weapons on defense. Brandon Staley is an aggressive coach who will do stuff. People are like, what are you doing, bro? But the analytics say to do that. And that's actually, if you play the numbers every time, there's going to be some bad decisions in one moment that are going to be analyzed on Twitter like you're an idiot. But if you do that every time over the course of the year, it's numbers. They will play out over time. So minus 2.5 is a slap in the face to the Chargers. That's absolutely awful. I don't care that it's because the Jaguars won their division. They're the home team. This is an inexperienced quarterback, an inexperienced defense for the Jaguars as well versus an experienced offense and defense, more talented, laughable. And then the 47.5 is tough because the Jaguars could put up a goose egg. But, I mean, when I watched them play against the Giants, it was a shootout. Etienne's explosive. Evan Ingram's been looking good. Christian Kirk's been great with Trevor Lawrence. Jamal Agnew could get a return touchdown or something. So I think even if the Chargers like 47.5 would be like 31-17. So that's like not a especially good game, but it's still competitive. So I definitely would take Chargers with the over winning by over 2.5 and then over 47.5. Bills Dolphins. My guy Josh Allen, 13.5 point favorites to beat the Tua-less Dolphins. And while I typically say avoid that, let's all remember that he spanked the Patriots 47-10 last year. It's a division game. They are not going to take their foot on the gas. Again, I would not bet on minus 13.5 because you never know. But if I had to, I actually would take the Bills to cover that. And the 43.5 is an insult because the Joshies are a shoo-in for at least like 25, 27 points. So if it's 25, that just means they need 18 from the Dolphins, who just like the Jaguars, except way more, have Tua and Tyreek, who at one point had after week 7 or something, had more. Those two had more 20-yard receiving plays than all but 6 teams in the NFL. Teams. So they are so explosive. Whatever backup's playing, whether it's Teddy or Skyler or Salvin Ahmed, whoever they stick back there, they can just throw screens to those dudes and watch them take off. So 43.5 is super low. I would mash the over on that. And I do think the Bills have a really good chance of covering. They're not going to take their foot off the gas. They want to embarrass their division opponents. And again, they could be up 10, and then Tyreek and Waddle could bring them back at any point. So you don't take your foot off the gas. Even if they do, James Cook has looked really good recently. He could break a run on a screenplay or something. So they could throw a screen to Diggs, or Dawson Knox can rumble. So they're going to smash. Are smashing right now. Let's go. Ravens Bengals. It's another backup quarterback, unfortunately. Minus 8.5 also seems kind of like an insult to the Bengals. But the Ravens defense has been really good since that Roquan Smith trade, which yours truly said was a really good idea. Because if Patrick Queen is struggling, you put another dynamic middle linebacker, and then you run away from Roquan, you run into Queen, and now Roquan's got a record extension for a middle linebacker. And it's like, I told you so. You put enough dynamic athletes together, and it's just incredible. So good for them for doing that. So I guess maybe that's why they think they're going to be in the game. But their defense is always banged up. They don't have many edge rushers. Their corners are always hurt. So I do think Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, even Joe Mixon, who's like people slept on, but he's still a top talent out of OSU. He had some like assault charge out of college. If he hadn't had that, he would have been an even higher regarded prospect and talent. So that's just that they have too much talent, and their defense is good as well. Logan Wilson's probably one of the most underrated players in defense. He's a middle linebacker who just reads every play like a book. So it's just and Jesse Bates III is like a top 5 safety in the league. They got Trey Hendrickson coming off the edge. So the Bengals are a really good team. There's a reason they beat the Chiefs and went to the Super Bowl last year. They're absolutely going to take the Ravens down. Huntley doesn't have playoff experience, so minus 8.5. I think they can top that. Now, the 40.5 is something I would not bet on because it could be a defensive game. And if the Ravens aren't able to put up points, like it could be like 23-13. That's 36. So that doesn't seem that unreasonable for a playoff game. So I wouldn't touch that. If I had to, though, I wouldn't. 40s, I wouldn't touch that. But if I'm having to, I would go with the under. I think the Bengals will call a conservative game, knowing that the Ravens can't run it or throw it. They'll punt and stuff. So I do think the under makes more sense there. And Cowboys Bucks is another really surprising one to me. Cowboys minus 2.5. I'm saying this every time. Seems insulting to the Cowboys. They scored 35 points per game since Dak came back. It's number 1 in the league. They're an elite offense. Tony Pollard is like second ranked running back in the league in a bunch of metrics like PFF, expected yards per attempt. He's explosive. Zeke is still a bull. People slept on Zeke. It's Zeke Elliott, dude. Look at him. He looks like a bull. Like he wears a short thing. He's got a 6-pack. He's got a bull ring. He's Zeke freaking Elliott. Like again, OSU talent. He's a hammer. So that's a perfect under and lightning, one of the best ones of all time. They've got CeeDee Lamb. They've got some decent tight ends. Dalton Schultz is pretty good. And then their defense is just ridiculous. So I'm sorry, the Bucs just can't hang with that. They've been up and down all year. They've had O-line issues. Mike Evans was like a little ill or something the other day. Godwin's been up and down all year. It's just, it's not, they don't seem like even teams to me. Like I know it's Tom Brady, but also Dak Prescott's not someone to sleep on. He's been really, really good. As a rookie, he was like 10-1 or something like that. So that's not a fair matchup in my opinion. I know the Bucs won their division, so they're the home team, but minus 2.5 does not seem like fair. I think the Cowboys will definitely beat that. And then 45.5 seems really high. These are two really, really, really good defenses. That's how the Bucs made the playoffs. Brady struggled. They have a great defense. Vita Vea is an absolute menace. Little Winfield is a baller. Their cornerbacks are all talented. Jamel Dean, Carlton Banks are those long, rangy bump and run corners. CeeDee Lamb is not going to just dominate. Like he'll be CeeDee Lamb. He'll do good stuff, but he's not a mismatch for them. They're similar sizes to him. So I do think on paper it's a much better matchup for the Cowboys. I just do. The 45.5 is interesting because they're both such good defenses, but then they're also electric offenses. I do think 24-20 is a pretty possible score for that game, though. So I would have to take the under on that. And then best for last, my Giants Vikings 48.5 over under. Crazy with all these like, electric offense, that we are the highest over under. 5 points expected more than Bills Dolphins. Seems nuts to me. I know the Vikings offense is awful, but they have Harrison Smith is like questionable. As of an hour ago, they say he's most likely to play as Harrison Smith. So their entire defense is healthy. Their entire offense is healthy. We have absolutely no one questionable. Everyone's geared up and ready to go. So like you could say, that's why it's so high scoring. But when everyone's healthy, that actually can also mean a defensive game. Like we played with them. They had to win on a 60-yard field goal last time. And we had nobody guarding Justin Jefferson. My guy, Adoree Jackson, was out. So Adoree is ready to go. We almost beat them last time. So that's what brings me to -3, I would take that. I could easily see the Giants being like up 2 and losing on a last second field goal because we just had that luck. There's a cool stat. Um, like last second field goals over the past like 7 years, 60 yards or more, 4 of them have been hit out of 15, and 3 of them versus Giants. Or it's like 1 for 15, rest of the league, 3 for 3. It's 3 for 3 versus Giants. All 3 game-winning field goals, 60 yards or more, have been hit against the Giants. Um, so yeah, so everyone's healthy. The Giants can be ready to rock. I know they don't have weapons, but they've put up points on this team before and are healthier than they were when they played them. But yeah, the 48.5, I know it was a shootout before, but it's gonna be different. It's gonna be playoff football. Dalvin actually, he was banged up in week 18, so he may not be on the injury report, but he's not 100%. They're actually dog someone, their backup running back, their kick returner, can't pronounce the name, sorry. He got a return touchdown a couple weeks ago against the Patriots. He is an electric back. If Dalvin were to have to leave, he would have to come in and play a little bit because then Matt is going to be the 1 and he'd be the 2. And whatever. I'm not even going to try. But yeah, he actually is sick. So they do have a little more injuries than we do. And again, they don't have any sneak factor like we have a sneak factor. We have Adoree Jackson, so we are coming into this game stronger than they do. 48.5 though, I know their offense is really good and their defense is really bad. So like, but 27-21 does seem like a reasonable score. But then again, so is 27-24, and that would go over. So this is another one I would mash Giants for that -3. I think they could win outright. I really think they have a good chance of winning. And I guess it could go overtime too. So I guess, but 48.5 is just so high. It could be a totally different game, especially with Adoree. So I would have to take the under on 48.5. There's a reason it's the highest of all 6 games. When an over-under is that high, you got to go low. So got to go low on that. But just the G-Man. I'm excited. I am excited. I've been having stream all year. We got ESPN Plus. We watch it on the big screen. It's going to be great. Sorry to the neighbors. I'm going to be yelling. Let's go. Let's go. Game's in an hour. Let's go, G-Men.